The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. Well, happy Tuesday evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. I am your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Otis Wiley and Jehuu Caulcrick. This is Sparta. The gang's here today. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button because subscribing gets you places. And that like button also helps us out a whole lot. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms, and this is how to do that. Thanks for tuning in to This is Sparta MSU. Interested in hearing more from us? Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. Click on the link in the bio to head to our link tree for more information. Help us grow our following by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Tell your friends and family to do the same. Have an idea for a future episode? Let us know in the comment section below. And now, back to the show. Well, a special welcome back, Otis, after your trip down to the happiest place on earth, Disney. Welcome. How was it?
Thank you. It was great, man. You know, it was a place magical. You know, you admire a guy in Walt Disney who built something that stands the test of time. It doesn't matter what year. Families, everybody, like, it's a full out, you know, everybody's coming from near and far. Globally, there was a lot of Canadians actually. I brought Jehuu up.
Oh,
I was in line with the guy who was like, yeah, you know, we're from Canada, and I was like, oh yeah, I got a teammate who claims he's a Canadian. So it was like Canada spring break, Ohio spring break, and we met a couple of Michiganders.
Just so you know, you were there in it was last week, but in Canada they don't say spring break; they say March break.
March break?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you were there in April, but
March break.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Canadians out there. I mean, we got to verify. Is Choo Correct? I don't know. We have
is he?
Some.
Is he though?
Oh, he's spot on all the time, right? Man, you know, like speaking of like welcome backs, guys, we got a couple welcome backs, and that's gonna start off with Tyson Walker is back in the green and white for men's basketball.
Man, I saw a tweet from one of I think it's Angel McCourty, women's basketball pro, and she was stating that the college athletes in NIL is so wealthy, like it's so healthy now that kids are like, look, I'm making more here than I will, if I go to the professional ranks. But I think we got some unfinished business, and I think when you look at Tyson and you look at our other announcement, I think it was great. It's great to come back, and then we got some guys coming. We talked about the Jeremy Fears of the world coming in, and you got still Trey Holloman, and you got Tyson Walker, AJ Hogart. I mean, it's gonna be nice, man. I think we got some unfinished business.
Why don't you just go ahead and say the next one? Malik Hall's also coming back to the party.
Hey, man, yeah, boy. That? Hey, look, the heart of this the grit, this the heart of our team right here, boy. We need him back, but I know Izzo's smiling ear to ear with that recruiting class coming in. Choo. What you think?
Absolutely. I think this is something good. Izzo took a lot of flack for not going in the transfer portal last year and getting a big or getting somebody. He wants to do things the the organic way. And I think, them having a taste and having that little run, that the Spartans had this year in the NCAA tournament, there really, brings things together and brings that hunger, to each other. And I think Tyson Walker was just peaking at the right time, late season, tournament time. He just started to form and get himself. And then that team was starting to get that chemistry. And now I'm really excited about it is because these guys that are coming back for another year, there's a purpose behind them returning for another year. And that's that hunger, because they tasted it a little bit. They tasted what it could have been. And now they're going to have the pieces to get it together. They're going to have an entire offseason, to get to have that social cohesiveness and become that one unit that they can just play fast. And, I'm really excited about this. And if you're a Spartan Hoops fan, you should be as well.
No question about it. I mean, this is going to be exciting, guys. And, they always talk about guard play. Seasoned guard play gets you deep into that tournament. And, man, Hogard, Walker, with some young guns. Malik Hall provides some grit. We got some big fellas now. Hey, it's Sissoko, and, hey, look, there's some guys.
Baby Jack's going to be in that weight room straight.
Baby Jack, that's right. Awesome. He gets to lift weights in college for a whole year.
It's transformation.
Yes.
We see the transformation that we were talking about who had the biggest transformation in college basketball for Michigan State. Biggest body transformation. People were saying Draymond, you had Xavier Tillman, but I thought it was Derek Nix or Nick Ward. But who do you think has the biggest body transformation in Michigan State's basketball history?
Derek Nix. Yeah, that's a big fella right there.
Yeah, I have to go Draymond, man. Yeah. He was that guy that was just, loose, lumpy, and then he formed.
Draymond's was post Michigan State though.
His senior year, because he was a little bit that's when he had the big jerseys though. Remember?
Right.
Big jerseys, big shorts.
Yeah,
thing of the past, huh?
Yeah,
so it's,
absolutely.
The Fab Five era. We're old people now, right? Yeah. I get it.
All right, I don't want to bring up that team down the road though, but
they don't have any banners, do they?
But they landed a big time dude, man. Caleb Love is a big time dude.
I don't know what you're talking about. Moving on. Academic Gala.
Awesome.
Academic Gala.
Awesome.
We're going to move on, gentlemen. Because we got a special guest. Everybody wants to get to. Look, here's the Spartan Academic Gala. Otis, you were at this.
Yeah. Oh, look. That boy was fresh.
NIL money.
I wish I had some hair like that. Okay. There's Coach.
Yeah, man. This is you got Noah Kim. This is our.
What is this?
I haven't.
Room?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen
21.
I was sitting at the table with Elliot Daniels, Dr. Guess, and I was like, I haven't seen this much representation for football at the gala. No knock to obviously a pass, but we were very well represented. Almost the entire, felt like the whole team was there getting academic honors, and that shows the culture of our team, but also our program that academics does matter. And this is that gala to honor the top of the line, the best student athletes that are truly achieving in the academia world. But it was a beautiful event. Breslin, it's crazy how you could transform Breslin into a venue like that where it's a black tie event. But it was really good to see a lot of people turn out and show up for the student athletes, because it's way more beneficial when you celebrate them off the field than on. So it was a good event.
Yeah, great point, Otis. Celebrating them off the field than on the field, because a lot of the things, people see athletes run around and see them as a number on the football field, on the basketball court, on the golf course, tennis course, and whatever sport they may play. But this is an opportunity to know that they're big, they're more than an athlete. There's some brains in that. That's why there's that student in that student athlete as well. And so congratulations to all the guys, especially the guys from the football team that are representing there. Congratulations to Payton Thorne in that fire red suit there. That was a great suit he had on there.
Red or burgundy?
That was red.
Hey, it was like
Okay.
it was red velvet for sure. That was a red velvet.
Yeah.
It's like it was.
But we got to give the keynote speaker. The All-American girl, Jenny Taft. The keynote speaker there. Did she have a good message, though?
She had a great message, man, and I didn't want to be that person recording when it was like everybody was tuned in, but her story of being a walk-on at Boston University, she played lacrosse, and she had a good story stating that she actually walked on, she actually was cut, and when she got an email received from the coach, she said that she responded with, "Hey, can I just show up and work out for a month, give me a shot?" And she made a team based off of basically no one has responded to this coach when they get cut, and based off of that response, she made a team. And she talked about shout out to all the walk-ons, and really only a few in the stands was like, "Yeah, I'm a walk-on." But it was a good story about perseverance, sticking to what you want and love, and doing what you love. And she had to go the hardcore route of beginning to become broadcasting. And we got one of our own, Jehuu, going to do some big things in the broadcast world. Was I here, or did I miss the show where we celebrated that at all?
We didn't talk about it.
Tell us, Tutu. Before we get to our guest, because this is why everybody's here tonight to hear from our guest. But our very own Tutu is climbing up the ladder.
I'm following the footsteps of Stray there. I'm channeling my inner color analyst. I will be the color analyst for the Michigan Panthers USFL team.
Woo! There we go, baby. Yes, which we had the number one pick in the draft for, by the way.
Yes, and we have a couple dogs on the team there. I know Butler. He's a DB. On the squad there. So
with the dogs.
Yeah. So is it conflict of interest if you get some B-roll and some content for this Sparta?
Absolutely not. Absolutely,
we got to see what it's like behind the scenes.
Yeah,
we all in this. We all in this.
Yeah, show the people. Guys, we have this special game coming up, this weekend. But then while we have the game as football players, there's also a couple other events going on. There's going to be a baseball game. And while we're at it, let's talk about Jake Boss, who just celebrated his 400th win as Michigan State head coach.
Yeah, man. I was talking to him yesterday at the event. One, I like our baseball unis. I need to get me one, man, especially the vintage ones and the baseball cap. But they're rolling right now, you said.
I think you look better in it than Jake, Coach Jake.
Who I would? Nah, man.
Otis too skinny for baseball.
He's too skinny.
He's too skinny. You'd be like, can't get right.
Why do they make the Skips wear the baseball uniform in baseball? Like why? It's the only sport they do that.
Yeah, man. But I think from a standpoint, we were talking about the weather, where we were talking about. They have a different beast that they have to handle throughout the season, especially Michigan in the season of spring and a lot of rain, especially with April rain. April showers bring May flowers, but they have to work with our Lansing Lugnuts minor leagues because they were rained out. And so he said sometimes, man, when it rains, he's like, I just kind of wish that we had a better location in the stadium, but they're rolling right now. Chemistry, beating Ohio State. And looking for some big things to turn the program around.
Rain's part of the game, Worst stadium for rainouts in the major leagues is Miami. So, look, it's going to happen. That's what it is, So we're in Michigan, got to deal with the climate every now and then. But, guys, what we got coming up, which is big, is the This is Sparta special subscribers only event that's going down at Fieldhouse. Right after the spring game, 5 p.m. Don't be late, guys.
It's going to be a fun event. You got some guys that's going to be coming fresh off the spring game, going to be making appearances there. It'll be fun to get the This is Sparta crew together, the This is Sparta family, have them come together, meet each other, have some hee-hee-ha-has, and have a few libations responsibly.
Put that picture back up. Who's going to be there? Oh, let's talk about the people that's going to be there.
Jacoby Whitman, yeah boy, number 4, and then Kyle Halliday, the chemist. I call him the alchemist because he walked the stage and it was like chemistry, and he was just a lethal dude, middle linebacker. Then Keon Coleman, Keon, which he said he didn't really like, so we go Keon Coleman will be there, and then all of our
we got you a seat,
fans, subscribers, yeah. I heard it's an open tab though on JU though. I heard.
Yeah, that's what we heard. Because look,
last time we said it was on Steve.
Well, now with your update, I don't know.
Mama Hall's coming. I just saw that, Mama Hall. You coming? Choo Choo's gonna provide libations for all parents that do attend. That's what I heard. So
all right.
the way my bank account's set up.
Awesome. Speaking of this, we're talking about like the body transformation. Let's look at Draymond between high school and then Michigan State.
Absolutely. He was on the cusp of changing that. Look, there was no muscle definition on the left. Man, look at he added a tattoo on the left to kind of maybe do the cut. I don't know, but he was, he got in shape, more so game shape, game ready, where he was able to run up and down the floor fully. But he admitted that when he got here, he was overweight, out of shape, and the transformation at Tom. And then Dwayne Stevens did a good job of committing himself to helping train him too. And I think that's what we kind of lacked this past season, is a big guy in Coach Stevens. He had a big influence on our guys. So we got to make sure that this season we're good. But Draymond, man, I think he jokes on himself about that transformation too. So
I know. I'm like, did he stop eating when he got to Golden State? Biggest transfer.
Straying
out since Kyle.
Right.
Look, Kyle's talking about the biggest transformation. Why are you grouping me into this? Listen, I wasn't a skilled player, and all of a sudden I look like a guy that had my hand. I always had my hand in the right.
Hey,
hey, you guys. I got to get this train back on the track. You guys are going off rails here. We got a big guest.
Here you go. Here you go. The king of questions.
Wow, you hear that, everybody? So
get us back on the train track.
Thank you, Jehuu. We'll get to the guest after this message from our friends over at IHOP.
When you're smiling.
Introducing IHOP's new Eggs Benedicts. When you take a poached egg, add it to a crispy English muffin, fire-roasted poblano peppers, and shredded beef with our rich and buttery hollandaise sauce. You don't just get our handcrafted new Eggs Benedicts on your plate. You get a smile on your plate. New Eggs Benedicts in 4 delicious flavors, only from IHOP.
So without further ado, after that beautiful Eggs Benedict rendition there, we're going to bring on none other than Payton Thorne, quarterback, QB1, number 10 in your hearts, number 1. But look, here he is. Payton Thorne joins the show. Thank you for joining the show here. This is Sparta. Payton, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me. Be fun to chop it up for a little bit with you guys.
Without question, man.
First of all, Payton, let me set.
Oh, look, this is what I wanted to hear. Look,
every time, like you're with dogs here. You're with Spartan Dawgs here. All right. Every time I see you do it, you like so professional. You're such a quarterback with your interviews and everything, like, so professional and everything like that. Cut loose, let loose, let's hee ha ha and go with it.
Sounds good with me.
Well, appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate you. We know you're busy and everything like that, and spring ball's going on right now, but taking the time to come on the show, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for having me on. Excited to get rolling.
Yeah, man.
So, Payton, how's spring going, man? Right now, talk to us about what you're seeing in the spring. I mean, people kind of know you already since you've been a 2-year starter at Michigan State. It's not like we're unfamiliar with you, So. I know you had your days back in Illinois. Yeah, everybody knows that you had that great relationship with Jaden Reed. Talk about how this spring has been with the quarterbacks that you have in that room right now in Noah Kim and Caden Hauser.
Yeah, things have been good. Like you said, with the other two quarterbacks. Been with them last year. Obviously, I've been with Noah longer than Payton, but Payton's coming along well. He's a young guy. Obviously, he's got plenty of talent, and it's been fun working with him. We do different things in the off season with different groups to work different team building stuff and things of that nature. But on the football field, things have been good. It's been fun hanging out with those guys, working together with those guys, and then obviously with the rest of the team, working and trying to improve on the areas we need to improve on, and then also just having fun out there. Sometimes that gets lost in the whole scheme of it. Guys get too caught up in this or that, but ultimately you got to enjoy it. We're only here for so long, and so enjoying the process, and spring's a great time to do that. Obviously, like I said, we're working to get better, but also these are some of the memories that you'll hold with you for years and years and years, as you guys know.
Yeah, Peyton, talk about like last spring compared to this spring. I feel like we came off an 11-2 season, beating Pittsburgh, and then we have the subpar year, but then this spring is kind of a rebuilding of getting back on track. But talk about the difference between focal points from the program with Coach Tucker himself from last spring to this spring. Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, it's definitely been different. Last spring, which if I'm sure you guys remember, we were low on numbers offensively. Our offensive line was really thin, and so we had to practice differently. And this year, obviously, we have a lot more guys, so it's been great offensively. Different positions have different issues, in terms of numbers, but offensively, we've been rolling well, and it's been good to get those reps in. But like you said, obviously, it was different last year. Coming off an 11-win season is a lot different than coming off 5 wins. But to be honest, we haven't talked about it much this spring. It hasn't been like we won 5 games last year, like this, and this. We need to do all these different things. We're getting back to our process, and we're refining that process. It's not the exact same as it was last year. We're practicing different, like I said, but the intensity is still high. And last year, I wouldn't, looking back, and I wouldn't say that we were complacent. It wasn't like we were happy with 11 wins and then just, cruising through the offseason. We just had other issues that popped up throughout the year. And obviously, last year did not go as we had planned or as we wanted. And so this year, we're just, like I said, back to the process and refining some things. But then also the guys that were here, you do have that in the back of your mind. And you know that if you do the same thing you did last year, you can expect the exact same results. So we've definitely addressed that, and I feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, you talk about everyone that you can talk to would say last year was a disappointing season. And we had a bunch of other, your teammates on the show. We've even had Darian Harris on the show. And a lot of the things that was brought, it's like that closeness, that culture due to the construction that's going on. Because, one of the biggest things, in sports, especially football, is hanging out in a locker room. You guys didn't have the opportunity to do that last year, with the construction, and you guys were, using it in shifts and everything like that. Do you think that contributed some, that like cohesiveness contributed some to some of, like, I know obviously, the injuries and all that stuff, but, that closeness of the team contributed to some of like the disappointments of last season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at last year, there's a lot of different things that contributed to our lack of success on the field. And, looking at it, I definitely think that's one of them. And we're not here to make excuses, and I'm definitely not here to make excuses for last year. But, if you take a wide view at it and look at where our issues could have been, that definitely had, played a factor in it. And, being displaced for as long as we've been displaced. A lot of guys have, our locker room now, we changed our game locker room. And so, we're at the facility, we practice or we lift. Obviously, our weight room now is in our indoor. So it has also made our indoor smaller in terms of turf space. So that presents a little bit of a challenge in some ways as well. As far as the weight room goes, we're getting great work in the weight room. So that hasn't really changed. But, like I said, we're having to travel to the stadium and then to the facility, which isn't far, but ultimately it is a difference because usually you go get treatment and then you head in the locker room, you get your extra work on the field, then you go shower, then get treatment, then go get food. And it's all in the same spot, which was always such an advantage or a nice thing about our old facility. And obviously things are coming and we're excited about the new things that are coming, and it's going to be, bigger and better than it was, obviously. But, getting us back together in a locker room where guys aren't traveling to and from, it'll be huge because, a lot of guys have honestly stopped even going to the locker room. And, like me personally, I just keep my little things that I need in my bag and then head to and from, I shower here at my house and then head to practice in the morning. I just kind of do my own laundry because I was racking up a few too many parking tickets at the stadium.
Oh, look.
I was going to bring that up because
it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I heard a little birdie told me you and I have something in common there. I think I heard you got towed too before, from MSU.
I've not gotten towed.
No, I haven't
gotten towed yet. No, so I was close.
Jay, wanted you to be in the club. That's what it was.
Yeah, chased him all the way to Trowbridge. No, and so look, Payton, we know you're like the consummate professional guy that doesn't want to make excuses for anything. But for those that are listening, not having a convenient place to shower and then be in the locker room, and then you hear Payton talking about, I'll just shower at home. Like, what's weird about it, like you guys probably know this too, like I did in my era way back when, we rarely showered at home. We always were showering in the facility. Like, that's where everybody congregates, everybody does it, and then goes home. Like they do that stuff there, not displaced all over the place. You know what I mean? So it is a little difficult, but like I'm going to ask you a question regarding the offensive line. A year ago, you didn't have many to go through the spring. So that was an issue. This year, it seems to be more on the defensive line. From an offensive line standpoint, it looks like you have like 19 guys that are in the spring right now. How has that offensive line improved in your mind or not improved? Like, tell us how you feel about the new players, transfers, or whatever, who are playing in front of you that's protecting your livelihood.
Yeah, it's been good so far. I've enjoyed playing behind the guys this spring. And then obviously, like you said, we got some new faces, whether that be a freshman or transfers. And it's been good. Guys that are here too are pushing the guys that played last year, moving some guys in some different spots, trying a couple of different things out. And then, ultimately just competing. I think it's great for our guys to obviously attack, and the guys that aren't maybe in a starting role, I know those guys are hungry to get on the field. So, they know what's in front of them and they know what they need to do. Or at least I hope they do. And I believe they do know what they need to do to get on the field. And ultimately that comes down to performing on the field. So that comes in practice and in the weight room as well. But things have been good. Our guys have been working hard. I know after pretty much every workout, they're all together. They stay and get extra work in, and that's great because, as you guys know, the most cohesive unit oftentimes is an offensive line, and those guys have to work together. And if they're not all five guys together, it's not going to work. So it's been great to see them all together, getting their extra work in and communicating with each other. I think they're having fun, and I think they're making each other better for sure. So it's been good to see.
Yeah, hey, Payton, elephant in the room, because it's happening across the nation, is players hitting the transfer portal. And I know we are heavily one of those programs that lean on the transfer portal, bringing guys in. And with the continuity of a quarterback, and you're seeing new faces, for that have been at other programs and ran different systems, like how has that really became a challenge, or how have you handled that from a standpoint of being one of the vocal leaders and leaders, as a quarterback? How have you handled the new guys that come in to try to get that same culture to step in line or join the train going forward together versus like you have some other guys that may come in that have been doing some things differently? How have you managed that leading forward these past year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, like you said. It does bring some good things as well. We have some transfer guys come from successful programs, and when that happens, I've had talks with those guys and asked them, what are the biggest things that you did where you were at that maybe us as players are lacking right now, and then we can address that. And you don't know what you don't know. So, a guy like me or Trey Mosley or Nick Samak, JD Duplain, we don't know any different. We've only been here. And so we've seen what we've seen. And so other guys at other places maybe doing things a little bit differently. There's a lot of different things that work. But just hearing some different ideas from those guys that have been in successful programs, that's an interesting dynamic to it, and you hear from them, and maybe you try some different things here and there. But that's good to hear. But then the challenging aspect of it is you don't know where a guy's coming from. You may know the school he's coming from, but you have no idea what the system he's coming from or what background he's coming from. Some programs lift very differently. Some programs don't lift very much, and you see that with some guys. And I'm not saying that we have a lot of guys like that at all. But, in the past 3 years, we've had, like you guys said, a slew of transfers that have come in. And so you never really know what you're getting until you meet the guy. And obviously we've had some great ones. Obviously we've had some guys that maybe haven't worked out and have moved on. But, you get a wide variety of stuff from different guys. And so just hearing where they're from and hearing what they do and what they, have been successful doing, it's good to hear. And then obviously you have to mold that into our culture. And I think our guys have been great in doing that. Our transfers that we've gotten have really embraced our culture so far as I know. That's what I've been seeing. So it's been good so far. I feel good about the outside guys that we've gotten. And obviously they're no longer outside guys. That's just their past. And everyone, has gotten here one way or the other. And now we're one team moving forward.
Yeah, so you're talking about those transfer guys coming in. So everyone wants to know this question, and you've had an opportunity now in spring ball to see this person in action. How is Nate Carter?
He's been awesome.
This is
as you can tell, son. This is his guy. This is his guy.
His son.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate's been awesome. He's an amazing guy. I've gotten to know him a little bit, and just being around him, he's a great human being. And so I don't know if you guys have met him or not, but as soon as you shake his hand, you'll definitely get that vibe from him. He's one of those guys that just makes you better as a person. Honestly, the more you hang out with him, and but as you guys, I'm sure, want to know, as a football player, he's very talented. Obviously, he's got that speed that people have talked about. Just today in practice, or maybe it was last practice, he had a nice burst, a nice jump cut, get in and out of a gap and get to where he needed to be. So far so good. I've been impressed with him. I thought he's been doing a lot of good things. Obviously, only 13 practices in, so not a huge sample size, but definitely enough to tell that he's a good player. And I'm excited to be out there with him.
Can he step up and block when you're in the pocket? That's really what we need.
Bring
right?
that heat. Yeah, you got a hot route. What's up? Is he gonna get in there?
Yeah, we need.
Yeah, he stuck his nose in there on Saturday. He definitely did.
Okay.
We had a scrimmage Saturday, and Big Jacoby was rolling in there, and he got stepped right in front of us. So he's definitely willing, and he is about as strong as they come in the backfield. So he definitely is capable, and he's willing as well. So that's good for me. I like seeing that.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge for a running back, is actually playing without the ball in your hands, because that's like reading that defense, seeing who's blitz and stepping up and sticking your face in there and picking up that blitz. But Payton, let's go back a little bit. All right. You're a kid from Illinois. Why Michigan State? What was the attraction to Michigan State for you?
Yeah. So in 8th grade, my dad told me, write down 5 schools that are your dream schools to go to. And I'm, like you guys said, I'm from Illinois. I was never, I have nobody in my family that went to Michigan State. I'm not a Michigan guy. And Michigan State was on that list. That was, probably back in 2011, 2012, something like that. If my math is right. Oh, no, actually, that's not right. Probably 2014.
So you saw the Rose Bowl.
Naperville, Illinois, man. Naperville.
Yeah,
that's a big time program down there in Illinois, man.
Yeah, I remember watching. I remember watching Connor Cook. I remember watching Kirk Cousins, and I remember watching Michigan State, and it was always fun to watch. I'll never forget where I was on the game against Michigan in 2015, I believe it was. I was on my couch with my grandpa, and that was that. But and then once I started getting recruited, I remember Coach Salem got in contact with me, and the reason I wanted to come to Michigan State was obviously they were winning. It was a winning program, but then also Coach D'Antonio. Before I even knew him, I had a ton of respect for the way that Michigan State played. I love watching the Spartans play and how they played, and then I also love just watching Coach D'Antonio on the sideline whenever the camera was on him. He was just a guy that you want to play for. And that's what I thought from the outside. And then when I was able to meet him and I was able to get up here on campus, and talking with people, to my dad and his contacts, the ultimate message was, you don't pass up Michigan State. You don't say no to Michigan State. So I committed shortly after, and then here we are now. So I would never change a thing. And obviously Coach D'Antonio is not here anymore. But Coach Tucker is the same way. You love to play for him, and he's a guy that I'm sure when you're watching on TV, you're probably thinking the same thing. Obviously, I haven't watched many games on TV when Coach Tuck's been coaching, though.
Payton, talk about a standpoint of Michigan State being what you came to be, like being recruited. What was your first encounter with Coach D? Like, talk about that. Like, it could be an interesting story, it could be funny, it could be serious, but like, what was your first encounter? Because me and Jehuu met Coach D when he took over the program, and we were his first. We called it Test Tube Davies Foundation, right? So we had the most strict Coach D ever. Like, he had a term. He had
that's still soft, guy. Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about saving and breaking. Yeah, saving different, right?
God.
But what was your first encounter with Coach D'Antonio?
So mine probably wasn't normal from the other recruits because I was recruited late, so I wasn't. My official visit was kind of weird. It was like on a Monday night, which is obviously not normal.
Really?
That's a Bible study night, man.
Yeah, do that.
Official visit. I was hanging out at the dorm and then walked home, and I got lost on my way home, and I was like touring campus by myself.
They made you walk?
Really?
Well, they told me to text. They told my host to text a recruiting guy when I was ready to go or whatever, and it was pretty late. We were watching Kirk Cousins actually on Monday Night Football, and he didn't answer right away or something. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be able to find my way home. It'll be no problem." And so the Kellogg is not that far, and that's where I was staying. And I will just walk the complete wrong way. I think my phone was dead or something like that, and so I literally was just wandering campus before I found it. So that was a whole nother story. But as far as Coach D goes, I honestly don't remember the first time that I met him, but I remember in the recruiting process just shaking his hand, and then obviously he seems like a real serious guy, and he's actually funny. He's a really funny guy. He's got those little side comments that you can't tell if he's being serious or just joking around, and then he'll give you that little smirk, and it's like, oh, he's just joking around. But yeah, things were good in the recruiting process. I remember talking to him on the phone mostly, honestly, because I was back home playing basketball still, so I wasn't able to get up here much. And then I remember committing on the phone and talking to him in my high school, and then that was that.
Look, Payton, everybody knows about your hoop skills. We've seen that at the bowl game. I think it was, at the
Peach Bowl.
It was the Peach Bowl
yep.
down in Atlanta against, Pittsburgh. You like won it for the team, whatnot. But like as a coach's son, right? So you grew up in football. You understand the game. You know what it takes. And coming in as a QB1, going 11-2, then the next year going 5-7, you understand, like, as a quarterback, just like we do in the damn locker room, quarterbacks get too much damn credit and they get too much damn blame. So right now, you are in this position where shit, everybody's blaming me, right? You know this. This not new to you. You got two players in the locker in your quarterback room that are vying to try. Like, what is it going to take for you to get to the point mentally and physically to be able to produce to the level that you need to in order to win this job and then produce for Michigan State? Because that's ultimately what everybody wants, to the level that everybody expects of Michigan State football, because that is who you are as QB1. Talk about that.
Yeah, like you said, coming in my first year starting, we win 11 games. All is good. You get that feeling of what playing at Michigan State is like. You get that feeling of what playing quarterback in Michigan State is like. And then the next year, you win 5 games, and you don't beat the teams that you're supposed to. Obviously, we lose some games that we weren't supposed to lose. and don't even go to a bowl. And so now you feel what it's like to play at Michigan State and to play the place with expectations, and then you're still the quarterback. And so you get the two different feels of it. And ultimately, I learned last year a lot about how to deal with certain things. And I learned, that social media is not your friend. Like people say, just get off of it, because if you're in this position, it's not going to help you, because ultimately, even the good things that you're seeing, that's not helping you either, because it's a whole bunch of people that truthfully, they don't know what's going on. They're not in the room. They're not in the team room. They're not in our team meetings. They don't know what's going on. All you see is TV. So you see, one thing here, one thing there, and what it looks like is it's somebody's fault. You think it's the running back's fault because he missed a cut, but ultimately that guy that he was cutting off of was supposed to be blocked. Or, you think that guy should have filled that gap, that linebacker, but ultimately, it wasn't him. We should have had a guy come off the edge blitzing. There's all types of different scenarios that people don't know. And so you got to learn to block it out, and you have to learn to listen to what you're supposed to listen to. And so, I see last year as a great learning experience for me. Obviously, I wish that it would have gone differently. I wish we would have won more games, but I believe strongly that down the road, I'll look back on that year and be thankful for it, because of the things I learned from this past year, both for myself and for our team. And so, like you said, moving forward, for me, it's just getting back to work. Not that I, took things lightly last year at all. I didn't feel like I was complacent whatsoever. I was full pedal down last year, trying to get better. And then, like you said, some different things happened last year that were a challenge. For me personally, like you guys had said earlier, I battled injury for the first time. I'd never really been banged up. And so dealing with that is not easy. And people also, people don't know that either. People don't know what you're fighting through just to get out to practice sometimes, and just to practice through the week and then be ready for Saturday. And so, I look back on last year, and did I play my best? Probably not. But I also look back on and say, did I give everything I had? And I absolutely did. I didn't hold anything back, and I can look myself in the mirror and say, I gave everything I had last year. And there were a lot of different factors that led to us ultimately only winning 5 games. But, for me, I can't look back and keep talking about, this and that. I'm not, looking back and saying I played terrible last year. I'll let other people do that. But, I know what I did last year. I know what I battled through. And ultimately, I feel like there are a lot of good things I did as well. And so I need to look at those things and build on those things. And then just, remember who I am and what I've done. I have a lot of confidence in myself, and, just playing with confidence. And I'll be doing that moving forward. And I have been in the spring. And, as a quarterback, you have to walk out there with a certain amount of confidence. If you walk out there and you're unsure about yourself, it's not going to go well for you. And so just remembering the things that I've, gone through in my life in all sports, and drawing from all the different things that I've done in football, baseball, and basketball. And, talking with my dad kind of recently, we kind of went through some stuff, and, he was bringing up some old stuff that I didn't even remember. And it was like, yeah, you know what? I do need to, I do need to remember those things, because I had forgotten them. Now I get so caught up in just this. And so you remember those things, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not listening to the outside noise, but I need to start remembering some of the things that I've done too, and get back with that mentality and that chip on my shoulder. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, Payton, I think about that Wisconsin game last season where, like, you legit locked in, like it was like what we saw the season prior to, where it was, you knew what you had a mission. Like, you knew, like, I had to put the team on my back, more so that shoulder, and throw that rock and that seed. And like, what situations really get you into that zone? Like, take us through the QB mindset of what gets you to play at that level, consistently. Is it the competition, or is it like the play calling because you're comfortable? Talk about, in your mindset, what gets you to that zone where the game slows down for you and you are just picking apart a defense?
Honestly, it's preparation. That's the word that comes to mind immediately for me. As a quarterback, obviously you're throwing the ball to your receivers and your pass catchers, your tight ends, your running backs, but ultimately it's the receivers. And so it starts now. That mindset starts now, and it's been started since January. I remember I was just talking to our receivers, a week or two ago about, for me back in high school, I remember, our offense was very good my junior and senior year. We scored a lot of points and we threw it around. And we stepped on the field every Friday night and had the mentality that we're not going to be stopped. You guys aren't going to stop us because, number one, we're really good. But also we are on the same page and we have a plan to attack you guys, and you're not going to stop us. And I remember my last high school game, we stepped on the field against a very good team from the Catholic League, and it was, I think, the second round of the playoffs. And they hadn't given up 7 points since week one. And we talked all that week. We put a couple new things in, and ultimately we said they're not going to stop us. They're not going to stop us either. And we went out there, and I believe we scored 34 or 35 points, and we lost by one, unfortunately. But, we went out there and did what no team had done to them. They play some really good teams. And so it's going out and knowing that you're prepared and expecting to go win and expecting to go put a lot of points up on the board. And that's how you come out there with that swagger and that mentality. It's almost like a mental cockiness. Obviously you're not outwardly cocky, but it's such confidence that you feel like no one can stop us. And if you go out there and play like that, that's going to help you a lot. And ultimately, that ends up coming to fruition.
No doubt about it. So Payton, you brought up a minute ago social media, right? And I thought about that as a player when I was at Michigan State back in the Stone Ages or whatever that was, and where you are now. Like we didn't have social media. I think Otis and Jehuu,
as in the book. Remember Coach John Hill Smith?
Oh yeah,
stay off that face thingy.
It was so new. It was new.
Yeah.
And now you're dealing with this, where you got all these, let me just say it the way it is. These Monday morning quarterbacks. Is that a better way to say it?
Yeah.
The Monday morning quarterbacks that, I would have done this, I would have done that, like you say, just getting off of it because it's evil. Is that something that you indoctrinated yourself in the way that you present yourself weekly in the behaviors that you exemplify for everyone? Like I don't need to look at this stuff because it's not all good, and it helps you. Tell me how you deal with that stuff today.
Yeah, honestly, during the season, I'll be completely off of it. Unfortunately, it's a way to make money in the off season, and we have people coming to talk to us about that. And so, unfortunately, there is a part of it that you do want to be on it a little bit, but I try to limit my time as much as I can. I'm not as good about it as I wish I was. It's not like I'm, addicted to my phone, but I wish I didn't have it at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, like I said, you get on there, you see some stuff, and our 11-win season 2 years ago, there was times where I would see people saying stuff about how I did this, this, and this, and how great it was, and I'd be like, that's actually not at all what happened.
Right.
It was
probably us.
Good, never was bad.
It's probably us, Payton. It was so
we were for the 11th season.
Safety off, and then move the protection here, and then through the touchdown. I was like, no, actually, that was just my quick read, and then I just threw it. I'll take,
Right.
It's like, okay. But so even then, I realized, these people, they don't know what they're talking about. And
Right.
Even some of the people that played and know football, even some of those guys will say something that is not really what happened. And so even if even those guys who, there are very few guys on TV and stuff that I trust, that I'm like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Like, he really can tell. And there are some of the guys that are borderline. It's like, that's not really what happened. So, you learn both ways. I learned then. And then obviously this past year, you learned the negative side of that. But in that good year, and then growing up and in high school, I was always, you always hear people say, just, you got to tune out, don't look at it. And I was always saying that. I'm like, yeah, I won't do that. But then as soon as the bad season comes, it's hard for 12 weeks or whatever to not look at anything. And so it's a little bit of a process of teaching yourself how to do that and how to really not pay any attention to it. And not that I was like, beat myself up about it, but it's like sometimes after you see it for a while, sometimes it will get to you, just being real.
Absolutely.
And it's a process of learning to really tune it out, because if you just keep seeing it, all of a sudden even the slightest bit of doubt may creep into your head, and then you don't want any of that. And so just learning to completely tune it out, and even the good things, like I said, you got to tune that out too, and just be completely focused on what you need to be.
Do you have a mental coach? Because, I mean, that's something that's a hot topic nowadays, is because it is such a now society and people think they're all experts. Is there mental coaching in the position of your caliber, QB1 at a Power 5 university, Big Ten, Michigan State? Like, do you subscribe to mental coaching?
I don't have like a said mental coach. I've talked with our team psychiatrist a few times. He's a great guy. I'm sure you guys probably know him. Dr. Rosen, he's an awesome guy. And I've talked with some of the former players actually who did meet with him on a regular basis just a couple weeks ago. And they said, hey, you should. There's no reason you shouldn't be talking to him, once every 2 weeks in the off season and every week in the season. And I'm like, that's a great idea. People think you go talk to a psychiatrist or whatever because you're depressed or you have horrible anxiety. That doesn't have to be the case at all. And that's what I've learned, is to just go in there and just talk about whatever. You might not even talk at all about anything that's going on, like deep down in your head. You might just go have a conversation, and you're able to say stuff to a guy like that maybe you wouldn't say to just, your dad, your mom, your coach, your teammate. You just have a conversation. And with our guy, he's been to so many different places and worked with so many different people that I can draw on stories that he shares with me from different situations that he's been in, and different Michigan State stories from the past. So it's been really helpful for me, and I've gotten a lot of great information from him.
Yep, absolutely. That is something that a lot of players should take advantage of. Couple questions. Here they go.
I said nothing, man.
What's wrong with that? That was a good quote.
Is this your rapid fire? Like, you talking about?
You want my rapid fire now?
No. That's what I thought was happening. He was going to give him the rapid fire questions of like his playlist, music, and
yeah. So let's start off. Is the mullet coming back?
The mullet's coming back. If you guys can see, it's kind of.
It's growing.
Last night you had some extra spit, man. It was smooth. It was slick back with it.
I was my girlfriend. She was telling me to grow my hair out, and I'm like, I'm not growing my hair out again. And so she's, come on. So I said, okay, fine, I'll do it.
Where's your girlfriend from, Payton?
She's from Michigan. She was born in Milford, Michigan. So small.
Milford.
Oh yeah. So then I realized, like, when I've had the mullet, we've only lost one game when I had the mullet. So I'm like, man, might as well. What's that gonna hurt? So might as well bring it back.
Okay.
I feel like I've played with some guys that like love to take their helmet off and just do that. They just want to.
Oh.
I've caught myself. I did that like one time because it was literally like it's gotten to the point now for the first time like ever. It's like got in my eye, and I'm like, oh, like it's drooping all the way, down from here. So I had to like, throw it back like that, and I was like, whoa, I don't like that. Like I can't become one of those guys who's flipping their
sunshine. Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
All right. So pregame meal. What's on the pregame meal?
Yeah, so Amber sets us up pretty good. Pregame meal for me is usually, depends if we play in the morning or night, but steak, maybe 2 steaks, mashed potatoes, big fan of mashed potatoes, maybe some pasta, and a piece of bread.
Okay.
Wait, did she stop serving that mac and cheese at Kellogg?
Oh yeah, mac and cheese too. Usually I'm a Friday night mac and cheese guy. I usually
Friday.
Yeah,
So that was pregame. So Friday night. Okay.
Do they still have the ranch dressing at Kellogg?
I think so. I'm not a big ranch guy, so I wouldn't know.
What?
Hey, look.
Oh,
Okay,
that's why you're not fat.
Jay used to smother his ranch. It was like,
I gotta be careful. I will lose my Buffalo card if they learn I was, eating ranch out here.
oh
Blue cheese in Buffalo. Don't make me lose my Buffalo card. All right. So,
Buffalo dude was a Buffalo dude.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-game music. Do you listen to anything pre-game, or what do you listen to?
I do. I kind of have a mix. I'm mostly hip hop, rap. I kind of go back and forth between some new stuff and then some old stuff. Not like not anything in the '90s. I'm not a '90s rap guy.
So when you say old stuff,
what's
older stuff. So stuff that you listen to, it's like, man, I've heard this a million times, but it's like
what? Like what?
So, some Drake, some older Drake, Lil Wayne for sure. Definitely a few from Eminem. So nothing crazy back then, but now I'm a big 42 Doug guy before. Some of these guys have got me onto these Detroit rappers, so I started listening to some up here in Michigan.
What would if someone went through your playlist, you said a bunch of different stuff. Like if they went through it and they heard a song, what song would you be like, I don't want the boys to know listening to this here.
Hey, I would
Miley Cyrus Party in the USA.
It was Miley Cyrus. I rocked with Miley Cyrus.
I'm taking ownership of all my music. Anything that comes on in the car when I'm on aux, I'm like, man, you don't like this? Come on, this is good. So I don't know. I mean, I listen to
Detroit rap is undefeated.
EDM. I listen to classic rock, 80s. Not a ton of classic rock.
Yeah.
80s for sure. It just depends on what I'm doing. If I'm driving in my car at night in the summer, maybe I'll turn on some country. I listen to country. Summer only for country. I can't be driving through the snow and listening to country. That's no good.
Right. Because you got to be on the vibe.
Country's a vibe.
You got to be on the boat.
Country rock is too.
So I'm starting to get into that country mode now. Now that it's getting nice out, get some country going. But then also some like.
Have you heard Jehuu? Have you heard Jehuu sing a country song? Have you heard?
We might have to. I have not heard that yet.
I'm a big country guy. Some confuse me with Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker. AKA Hootie. That's Hootie.
Go there. But all right. Favorite off-field other than football. Favorite off-field activity.
Golf. I just got back from the course today. Actually, first time this season.
Oh, where'd you go?
I went to Forest Acres, just a Michigan State course for now. We started off nice and light.
How's it? Is it in good shape off the spring? Like already?
It's not bad. There were a couple of new water hazards out there that I think won't be there in like a week. But
there's flood. I got you.
The new dimension of the course. It was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, why is it that it's always quarterbacks and kickers that can golf? Why?
Because I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
There is actually like somebody, I don't know if somebody studied this or just somebody said this, but quarterbacks and kickers have a repeated motion in their game. So like quarterbacks, throwing is a repeated motion. Obviously kicking is extremely repeated. And so quarterbacks and kickers are good at repeating motions, I guess, because a receiver does a whole bunch of different things. I'm not saying the quarterback does the same thing every time, but golf is, I guess, a repeated movement. And so that's why kickers and quarterbacks usually aren't the ones in the training room too much. At least we hope not.
Yeah, and also too, but quarterbacks are good in my book. They, you guys, I consider quarterbacks athletes. Kickers, I don't.
I consider them. There it is.
Kickers.
Well, I think you got scarred because our kickers would go and gamble or play cards while we're practicing.
During 2 days. One of them took one. Payton, true story. One of the kickers, the old specialist unit, the long snapper, punter, kicker, all those guys during 2 days. It's hot as hell. You sweating. You look at them. They're tossing about, and they took the cart. Like the old training cart there with the long bed. They all hopped on it. Took that to the Meridian Mall.
No way.
Yes.
I mean, that's not close. That's not even that close to the city.
No.
True story, Otis.
Wow.
Damn.
That's. Hey, look, I wouldn't know because clearly
ask David Rayner.
All
I
right.
have no idea what our kickers do during practice. So I mean, for all I know, they could be taking trips to Meridian Mall right now too.
So okay, after big win, East Lansing's a great spot. Where's the watering hole?
Man, I don't have like a go-to spot. I will say, I kind of float around a little bit to a few different ones.
Damn
But, all the main ones that you guys probably know. I've hit.
Jay just wants you to say his favorite spot. That's what he wants.
I don't know. I've been just about everywhere except I've only been to a couple of them like once. But I haven't been to what's the main one right on the corner, right by the hotel?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Right opposite of the Marriott. It's a cool place.
The Rib?
Oh, that's
The Rib?
The Rib.
I've never been to the Rib. So
Rib.
people say that's a cool place. So I gotta
Go on a Thursday, Burgerama. Yeah.
Look, Mr. Bowman says Rick's.
Big
Yeah,
Rick's
I don't know about Riggs.
You're a Lujas guy,
listen.
aren't you?
Jay will show you. Don't worry about
Peyton's a
it.
Lujas guy.
Huh?
And Lou and Harry's. He's a Lou and Harry's guy.
You a Lou and Harry's
one
guy?
knows it. They don't have the big
That's
ones.
that's one of my main spots to go to with the guys. Sometimes depends the night.
All right. So after a night out, what's the spot to eat?
Oh God. Well, back to now let's bring Jaden back. Back when he was here, and then our friend Greg Newsom, he plays for the Browns now. He would come up sometimes, and he found this spot called DP Dough that I'd never even heard of.
Yeah.
Where's that at?
It was late, and we got back, and nobody's open except these guys somehow, and so they like door dashed them in, and so it just became like a tradition that like we get DP Dough all the time. If it's ever late, and so that's kind of our thing. But other than that, honestly, I don't even know. Sometimes I'll grab something just random out of the pantry, toss it down before I go to sleep.
Johnny Costanza said it was so good.
That's my rapid fire for you, Peyton. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Hey, man.
Hey, Peyton, I think people have asked this, and I know we've held you long, but what are some kind of breakout stars on the squad that we should be looking out for? We'll be at practice Thursday morning to get a little feel as we get ready for the spring game and call the spring practice. But tell us who we should be looking at, or who has rose to the occasion of we had some studs leave this season, but who's the next man up and who we should be thinking about looking at?
Other than Nate Carter, obviously.
Yeah, so honestly, I would have to think a little bit about, I don't want to miss anybody, but like you guys say, Nate Carter's a guy who's been doing good things. Excuse me. We also have had some other backs that are really, really showing some good signs. But offensively, I know everybody knows him and everything, but Keon Coleman, man, he's been working, and it's been really fun to work with him this offseason. And him not playing basketball has been great for me. As much as I enjoy watching him play basketball, because man, he can get up. But man, he's worked his butt off, and it's been really fun getting to work with him. And he has taken a step in the right direction, and it's going to be fun. He's going to be a damn good player when the fall rolls around. Defensively, kind of same thing. I hate to be boring, guys, but Cal Holiday is Cal Holiday. You guys have seen him make play after play.
Yeah, we call him the alchemist, man. He's the chemist, right?
We call him the body man. He's collecting bodies.
The body man.
Oh yeah. And Jacoby's been doing well. Defensive line guys, it's been a little bit of rotation, but things are going well. And then in corner wise, Dylan Tatum's been showing some good signs. And then also Caleb Coley's been doing some good things. So excited to keep competing against those guys. And, I'll let you guys know in the fall, too, about who's been sticking out in the summer.
Perfect.
Yeah, we got to get a look, like a constant, segment for Peyton to come on, to talk about what the hell's going on. Because that's all everybody wants to know. What's going on? Peyton, man, phenomenal job today. Thank you
Absolutely.
for what you've done today. I mean, look, man, I know this is like a hot seat. People think but you handled it with grace. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. It's fun talking with you guys. And if you guys ever need just someone random to slip in, I'll be your guy. It's fun hanging out with you guys. So I'll see you guys.
You got our number. You got our number, brother.
Done and dusted. We'll see you on Thursday in practice.
We'll see you Thursday morning. We'll watch.
Sounds good, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
Appreciate you. Hey, Payton Thorne, man. Hey, listen, look, I think he was candid in talking about like what the hell's going on, man. It's tough. Mentally, what is a tougher position than QB1?
There isn't.
And you see why, right? It's crazy.
Not at all.
It's crazy.
I think it's like it shows the human element of these. They're still players, still human beings, right? And we're judged on one Saturday. Like everything that you put into it, we're judged on that one Saturday. So I remember having a slump when Coach D came my first half of junior year, man. It was a struggle. It was like trying to get out the thick of just inside your mind, right? The battle of the mind. And that's where it begins to where, I was going to bring it up, but like Coach Barnett really helped me mentally turn my focus to just speaking life and speaking like positivity and like who I was and who I knew I could be. And he would tell me every day and also before every game, you're the best damn safety in the nation. And at that time, I did not believe that, right? And so you start to believe it and you just start playing and things start clicking. And you just need that one play, man, that just like, oh, that's the old Otis. That's what I'm used to. And you hold on to that and you just play free. And that's right. One thing that people don't see, man. They just see the journey of, getting over having amnesia of a bad play or interception or, missed tackle or giving up a touchdown. And it's just being able to support these guys through the pits and through the highs. And Coach D, and Jay, you can attest to this one, Coach D was always real with us when he was like, listen, yeah, you guys winning. But he was like, be prepared for them to drop you quick. Remember, he was like, they celebrating you now. But he used to be like, they will drop you like a bad habit quick. And so that's where you just got to know, like, man, it is what it is. Those guys haven't been where we've been at or haven't been in the weight room or the film room. Just play your game, man. And so, I got my full support and just making sure he's healthy and mentally, but also physically.
Yeah, before we take off straight, there's one thing I want, and that's why I love doing this show. And I love, doing this show with you guys. I think, like we can say it all the time. I think this show is the most authentic podcast out there. There's other podcasts that, do, MSU centric and everything like that. But I feel guys can come on here and be themselves. I feel guys can come on here and, feel comfortable and loose. We're going to ask them tough questions. Yes, but we're not going to sit there and just give you cookie cutter stuff. That'll be disrespectful for the people that's sitting in and tuning in. So that's why I love doing this show. And that's why, I love having these guys come on because it shows, they're more than a number running on the field. I say that a lot, and it gives our audience a peek into, who they are as people. And I don't think there's any other show that allows the athlete to come on and be themselves, talk about where they like to go to have a drink, talk about what type of food they like, what music they like. Everyone wants to talk X's and O's and everything like that. We do as well. Don't get us wrong, but we also want to elevate these guys and give them a platform to show themselves, who they are to the Spartan Nation.
I love it. Love it, Choo Choo.
Yeah, that's a mic drop. That's a wow. That's a mic drop. Absolutely.
I will say, and that was great. Look, guys, thank you.
Where's Fieldhouse located? She said there was a question.
Thursday, yeah, we got.
No, they said where's it located?
Where's it located?
Pull up the flyer. It has the address. It's on Albert Street. If you look at there, downtown East Lansing. You can't miss it. Across from Jolly Pumpkin, next to the Hopcat. It's right there, Fieldhouse. 213 Ann Street, East Lansing, Michigan. We put it in there. But we'll be there live Thursday. So you'll see us.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and hit the like button.
Hit the damn like button.
Tell them. Gotta tell them. Hey, listen, come on in, subscribe, hit the like button, do all those things. Come hang out with us. We'll have a good time. Look, thank you, Choo Choo. That was great. Otis.
Otis, do this.
Always great with Otis. Always, man. You know, look, and really special thanks to Payton Thorne. And that was incredible to hear it from his voice. And he gets, he knows. He already knows. So give him a break. This shit ain't hard. It's not easy. Love everybody. Look, guys. Anything else?
No, I think this is great, man. We're looking forward to breaking some bread and, having a good time at Fieldhouse on Thursday. And we got other events. So if you're in town, support as much as you can for other sports too that's happening. But I'm looking forward to going to Fieldhouse, man, for sure.
It's going to be fun. Everybody, listen, for Otis Wiley, Jehuu Caulcrick, I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Sparta. Have a good night. God bless. And go green.
Go white.
This is Sparta MSU as a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Pete Menez with additional support from Tony Costella. Operations and social media support is provided by Alicia Strayhorn with support from Cecily Max Brown. On-location technical support is provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our hosts Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest, this is Sparta News. Please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support, and as always, go green.